The Orion is sort of like an endgame mining ship. So I think currently at the moment it's going to be the largest mining ship in the game.
So basically it's got like a tractor beam and a cutter at the front. So that'll take in and cut up asteroids, and then it's going to be dragged through the entire ship. So it's basically like a funnel where it's taken into a refinery and then split and spun out into these big tanks on the side where it can be deposited or sold.
You use it to take on sort of corporations in terms of like mining and transporting ore and stuff like that. So this thing can just go and eat like entire asteroid fields, just sort of mosey around, just eating stuff.
Because the ship's so massive, it's very difficult to turn. So instead of turning it to face what you want to mine, you would just reach out and grab it and pull it towards you. As well as the mining, it can refine them as well. So we've got ideas for like, you've got the bit at the front, which is the mining part where all the asteroids would be dragged into and munched up with the muncher thing. And then along after that is the refinery, which no other mining ship has. What that does, you can set it to look for certain things in what you've mined. You could just stuff an asteroid in the front and then it will sort out what you find in it. So you can punch in, I want to look for iron or a certain type of mineral or something, and it will just search through that and put it away. And we can have it sort the ores in those. There's like 12 rotating cubes on the back, the cargo pods. We can say like, this cube's for iron, this cube's for gold, and it will do that for you. So you can just happily let it go once you've set it up how you want.
So because it all comes in through the front, through the mining laser, there's a central corridor chute that runs through the entire ship. So that's sort of defined this hexagonal shape that builds up all the walls. So in each of the rooms you can kind of see it's slanted. It's not traditional squares with slanted walls. It's that the walls themselves actually slant in almost every room. So that's going to be pretty unique about this ship.
There's not much room around for the crew or anything, so we had to scale it up to fit all that in. Which is also good because in the original scale, it was a bit too small for the final mining ship you would get. So it would be a bit disappointing to get it. Because originally it was only half the length of the Idris. You would like your absolute final, most expensive mining ship to be a thing of like, oh, it's massive and could do loads of stuff. So we've scaled it up pretty much 100% bigger than it was, just to be able to fit all the stuff in and for it to be impressive.
It's very much industrial, so the center section is going to be quite open plan and very mechanical feeling, and then we're going to have to try and have habitation areas a lot brighter and more personal, so it's going to be, again, sort of just trying to balance that.
What we've done with the interior is we focused it around the ore funnel, and it's got that RSI sort of trapezoid, rhombus sort of shape, so that's all arrayed around that ore funnel. So you have the ore funnel in the center, corridors either side of that, and then branching off of that is rooms on top and around. And as you run through the ship, you're always aware of that ore funnel. I suppose it'll be making a lot of noise and stuff. We're going to have windows you can look into it, because that'll be cool.
So the Orion's currently at white box. So we've basically taken the designer block out and just sort of fleshed it out a bit more, just getting the rooms sort of looking what we want them to look like in the final thing. And once that's all been okayed, we'll then move on to grey box and get some sort of finer details and materials and stuff in there.
So we went through quite a few iterations with design before we settled on this one. And most of the time the limitation was just size. So although it's already a massive ship, there was this limitation of the tunnel running through the center. And it meant that the rooms around the side had to be more like corridor sized as opposed to room sized.
It's more sort of gameplay focused in that respect. So basically making sure that the player can move around and he's got enough space to sort of do what he wants to do. It doesn't take too long to get from, say, the cockpit to the cargo bay or something like that, because you don't want to be running around the entire ship. The white box stage is really sort of interesting and really sort of creative, just because you get the ability to sort of change how the ship feels. So taking the Orion as an example, you can basically, just by changing the angle that the walls are, you can change how the ship feels. So if you wanted it to feel claustrophobic, you can put the walls sort of like in a V shape, because then you've got all the wall like gubbins and stuff on the side feel a lot closer to you. Whereas if the walls are like a pyramid, it feels a lot more open because you've got a lot more sort of ground space.
It's got that panelled sort of look to it, where you've got your sleek, sharp panels, and under that sandwich between them is all the tech. So you've got the ore funnel along, and that's surrounded by tech parts that are open to space, and you can see that. And then on top and underneath it's sandwiched on with the plates, kind of like the constellation nacelles, that sort of thing, where they're one shape but they've got all that little greebling in it. And then from the front you've got that classic RSI trapezoid sort of thing going on.